para la Junta del Consejo de la Ciudad. Tenemos 6 miembros del Consejo aquí con nosotros, pero estamos 10 para empezar la Junta. Estamos esperando más algunas. Gracias, señora Galán. Tomando la lista. Buenos días. Gracias, muy bien. ¿Usted? días a todos. Ahora son las 10:15 y todavía estamos esperando un quórum para poder empezar la Junta del Concilio de la Ciudad. Tenemos 7 miembros presentes. Estamos 10 para un quórum. Tomándose la lista de los ausentes. Por favor, vengan a la Cámara, todavía tenemos 8 miembros.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to City Hall and to Council Chambers and to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council for today, Friday, May 17th, year 2002. The City Council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. And we always invite the public to attend council meetings and participate in their local government. We can be viewed live from home on your cable station, Channel 35. We can be viewed live via webcast from the city's homepage or heard via council phone. We have 9 members present at this time, one short of a quorum, but this being Friday, as is customary, we do have a series of presentations and special recognitions that we'd like to begin with. At this point in time, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Cindy Misikowski to introduce some special guests.
Mr. President and members of the council, I'd like you to join with me today in welcoming a group of visiting students from the Brentwood School in the community of Brentwood. They are here with one of their parent organizers, Kyle, Allen, Neeson, and I would like the children and their visitors to stand and say hello to us. And see you. Thank you. And I think if this is appropriate, I would like to ask everyone to please stand right now and join Kyle Allen Neeson, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Kyle.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I want to thank the kids for joining us today. They just may be taking over for the council members a short time. Council Chair recognizes Mr. Pacheco for a presentation.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. I want to recognize some of our youth who have been working with the Youth Opportunity Program, also with Operation Yes, Youth Educational Services. Operation Yes is a program that's doing good work in the community under the leadership of Juan Jimenez. I also want to tell you that we have been working very closely with all our community groups to make sure that they take advantage of the Youth Opportunity Movement and the Youth Opportunity Grant. We have 4 individuals here who took advantage of an imaging course using computers and were certified as completing the course. This is a skill that they are going to take for themselves forward as a job skill. We're very excited about them participating in getting this job skill because we know that our kids, especially in the communities that we represent, sometimes need extra opportunities. So they're taking advantage of this program, and they're putting themselves in a better position to get a job and lead a more productive life for themselves and for their families. I have 4 individuals who I want to recognize for having completed this course. Their names are
Sus
Omar
nombres son Omar Oliva,
Hector
Héctor
Figueroa,
Figueroa,
Fermín
Fermín
Estrada, y Elías
Estrada.
Estrada. This is
Esto
especially
es
significant
especialmente
for
significante
these
para
individuals
estos
because, as you
individuos, como
know,
ustedes saben,
when you are
cuando ustedes
at risk or
están
growing
en
up in the
riesgo o están
community
creciendo en la
with
comunidad,
limited resources, they face many obstacles,
oportunidades
and it's
limitadas,
really
tienen
a
muchos
testament to
obstáculos y
their
un testamento
tenacity
para
that they
su
have
tenacidad
stepped forward
de
and
que han
taken
ido
this
para
course and
adelante y tomar
completed.
este
So I want
curso
to
y terminado.
congratulate
Los quiero
them and
felicitar
their parents
y a sus padres
for having them
por haber
been successful in this
sido
course.
exitosos en este
Let me
curso.
first bring
Déjenme
up
primero traer
Elias
a Elías
Estrada.
Estrada.
Elias, I just want to
Elías,
tell you,
nomás quiero
give you the
decirle,
certificate
darles
of
el certificado de
recognition
reconocimiento
on behalf of the
por
14th
parte
Council
del
District.
distrito
It gives me
del
great pleasure
Consejo
to
del
recognize your
Distrito
hard
14,
work
por
and
reconocemos su trabajo
dedication to
duro y
the completion of
dedicación
the
para
imaging
terminar
course at
el
Operation
curso de
Yes.
inmersión en Operación
So on
Sí.
behalf of my
Esto es
office
parte
in
de
the
mi
city of Los
oficina en la ciudad de
Angeles.
Los Ángeles.
Congratulations.
Felicidades.
Let me also bring up
Déjeme
Fermín
también traer a
Estrada
Fermín Estrada
and also
y también a
congratulate you
felicitarlo
for accomplishing
por
your
terminar
goal of finishing this
sus
course and
metas de
improving
terminar
your
este
job
curso y mejorar
skills.
sus
Congratulations, Fermín.
oportunidades de trabajo. Felicidades, Fermín.
I also want to congratulate
Quiero
Omar
felicitar a
Oliva.
Oliva.
Omar,
Omar,
come on, step forward.
hacia para adelante.
Don't be shy. On
Tengan
behalf of the
vergüenza,
district
comparte
and the
del
city of Los
distrito y la
Angeles,
ciudad de Los Ángeles,
congratulations
felicidades
and good luck
y
in
buena
finding a
suerte en
job
encontrar un
and all your
trabajo y
future
a todos
endeavors.
sus riesgos en el futuro.
And Hector
Y
Figueroa.
Héctor Figueroa,
I also wanna
también
recognize
quiero
you. Come on up.
reconocerlo. Ven para acá, Héctor.
Oh, he's taking a test right now.
Él
Good.
está tomando la prueba
He's
ahorita.
he's still working on his
Todavía está
education.
trabajando en su
So
doctoración.
we're going to
Entonces
have
vamos a tener.
Floyd's going to accept
Floyd va
on
a
behalf
aceptar
of
como
Hector
parte de
Figueroa.
Héctor
But let's just
Figueroa.
say to Hector,
Debemos decirle a
congratulations.
Héctor felicitaciones.
I just want to say thanks
Más
to
que
everybody who
decirle
made
gracias a todos
the
por
fundings
hacer
for the YO.
los fondos para el
I
YO.
just recently got my GED
Recientemente
for
agarré
the
mi
YO, and now
GED
I'm
por el
currently
YO y
enrolled in
ahorita
trade
estoy
tech.
enrollando en
I'm
Play
taking
Tech,
high
estoy
tech and
tomando High
computers,
Tech,
computer repair.
computación, reparación
I
de
just wanna say thank
computadores,
you
más que
for
decirles gracias por todo.
I want to say thanks
Quiero
to the
decirle
YO
gracias
program
al
and to
programa
the
YO y a la
Operation Yes
operación
program.
de
These
sí.
programs are
Estos
great and are
programas son
essential for our youth
esenciales
to
para
become
nuestra
greater
juventud para ser
citizens.
mejores ciudadanos.
Just want to give thanks
Más que dar las
everyone who
gracias
made
a
this
todos los que
program,
hicieron este programa,
the way so it can
de
be
la
funded.
manera para que ser fundado.
That's all I have to say.
Es lo único que quiero decir.
My name is Juan
Mi nombre
Jimenez,
es Juan
President and
Jiménez,
CEO of
presidente
Operation
de
Yes.
Operación
We're
Sí.
funded through the YO program,
programa YO.
and we want to
Y
thank
nomás
very
queremos
much
dar gracias
for the city
a la
councilman
concilio de la ciudad
that brought it to the
y
Boyle
lo
Heights,
trajo
which
a
is
la
Nick
Boyle Heights,
Pacheco.
que es Nick
And
Pacheco,
also
y
want
también
to congratulate every city
felicitar a todo
councilman
el
that backed
concilio
them
de la
up
ciudad que
to
nos
make this
apoyó
possible.
para hacer
There's
esto
a lot of kids
posible. Muchos
that
niños
are learning from the
que
YO
están aprendiendo el
program
programa
because
YO.
we're a
porque
collaborative
somos una
organization.
institución
I thank
colaborativa
you.
que les doy las gracias.
Colleagues, I will share with you that
Voy a compartir con
Councilmember
ustedes.
Hahn and myself have had much success with the YO program. She has YO Watts, and the Council President Padilla is also working on bringing YO to the Valley in, I believe, the Pacoima area. So this is a great program for all our kids. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Members of the council, members of the public, we have achieved a quorum, so at this point in time, I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Person Galander, Garcetti,
Está
Gruel,
llamando a la
Han,
lista.
Holden, Labange, Miskowski, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, Burley Thomas, Weiss, Sine, Padilla, 12 members present
12
and a
miembros
quorum, Mr.
presentes, un
President.
quórum está
Thank you very
presente.
much. Our
Muchas
meeting is
gracias.
officially
Nuestro-
called to order, and I would ask that we take a
Junta
brief
está
pause in
oficialmente llamada y vamos
presentations
a tomar la
to
presentación
go
para
through the agenda and call
pausa,
items
toma la
special.
asunto
First order of business,
approval of the minutes.
de aprobación de
Mr. Reed Thomas
negociación,
moves,
el
and
se
Mr.
mueve y
Gibson
está en
seconds.
la segunda.
Mandatory resolutions for
Resoluciones,
approval.
comentarios
Ms.
para
Rule
aprobación,
moves,
se
and Ms. Zines,
mueve
Zines
el señor
seconds.
San la segunda.
Mr. President, item number
El
one
presente
on
asunto
the
número
agenda
uno en
is
la
an item
agenda es
notice
un
for
asunto
public
y enviado
hearing.
para audiencia pública.
I do not have
Yo no
requests for
tengo
members
una
of the public to
petición
be
del
heard on
público
item
para
number
en el
one.
asunto número
Shall
uno,
deem the public
que es
hearings
hacer
open
audiencia
and
pública abiertas y
closed.
cerradas.
Members wishing to call
Miembros
item
que
one
desean el
special.
asunto número uno especial.
Mr. Pacheco
Señor
calls item
Pacheco
one
llama el
special.
asunto uno
We have
especial.
cards on item number two.
El
Let's
asunto
call that
número dos
special
vamos a
as
llamar
well.
ese especial C también.
Items numbers 3 through
Asuntos del
5
3 al
on the
5
regular agenda
en
are
la
items
agenda
noticed for
especial,
public
asuntos
hearing. I
para
would note for the
audiencia
record,
pública.
item
Para
number
el
3 has two
número 3 tiene
ordinances,
dos
one for the
ordenanzas,
installation and one
una
for the
para la
maintenance.
instalación y una para el mantenimiento.
Okay, do not have requests
Porque
from
no
the
tengo
public to be
petición
heard on
del
those
público
items.
para ser oídos en estos
Let's
asuntos.
open
Vamos a
and
abrir y
close
cerrar
and recognize
y
those public
reconocer
hearings.
esas
Members
audiencias
wishing to
públicas.
call any of those items
Alguien quiere
special.
llamar
Items
alguno de
3
esos
through 5.
asuntos número 3 al 5.
Seeing none,
Dígase
Mr. Clerk,
ninguno.
please open the roll,
Ábrase la lista,
close the roll,
ciérrese la lista,
and tabulate the vote.
tablece el voto.
12 ayes.
12 sí.
Those are approved.
Esos están aprobados.
Items numbers 6 and
Número
7
6
on
y
the regular
7 en
agenda,
la
items
agenda
for which
regular,
public
asuntos
hearings
porque
have
la
been held.
audiencia pública
Items
ya
6
se
and
hicieron.
7 now
6 y
before us.
7
Members
frente a
wishing to
nosotros.
call either of those
Miembros
special.
que quieran llamar a alguno de
Items
esos
6 and
especiales,
7.
asuntos número 6 y 7.
Seeing none,
Y
Mr.
así
Clerk,
ninguno,
please open the roll on those
ábrase la
items,
lista en esos asuntos.
close the roll,
Ciérrese la lista,
and tabulate the
tablece el
vote.
voto.
12 ayes.
12
Those
sí.
are approved.
Están aprobados.
Items numbers 8
Asuntos
through
números del 8 al
17
17
are items for which
son
public
asuntos
hearings
porque
have
la
not been
audiencia
held.
pública no se han
Items
hecho.
8 through 17
Asunto
do
al
not have requests
17
from
no
the
tienen
public to be heard
petición
on
del
those items.
público para ser oídos en
Again, we
esos
shall deem the
asuntos.
public
Otra vez
hearings
es la
open
audiencia
and
pública
closed.
están abiertas
Without
y
objection,
cerradas
we
sin
shall
objeción.
consider items 8 through
Va a
17
considerarse
today.
de 8 al
Ms.
17
Hahn?
hoy, señora Hahn. 11.
For
pues,
Mr. Garcetti.
para el señor
Ms. Hahn
Garcetti.
calls item 11 special for Mr. Garcetti.
Llama el
Item
ese especial
12,
para el
we
señor
do
Garcetti.
have
Asunto
cards
número
now. Let's
12,
call
tenemos
those
tarjetas,
special.
ahora vamos a llamar ese especial.
Any other specials?
¿Algún otro especial?
Mr. Reyes.
Item 18, asunto 18, por
18
favor.
call special.
18, llamada especial.
We're not on that matter yet.
We're not there yet,
Todavía
but let's go ahead and
estamos,
call that
vamos
special
a
by
llamar ese
Mr.
especial
Reyes.
por el señor Reyes.
Items 8 through
Asunto
17.
8 al
Any other
17,
specials?
¿algún otro especial?
Any other specials?
¿Algún otro especial?
Seeing none,
Dígase ninguno.
Mr. Clerk,
Entonces,
please open the
secretario, por
roll on
favor,
the
hace
balance
la
of those
lista
items.
en el balance de esos asuntos.
Close the roll
Ciérrese la
and
lista.
tabulate the vote.
Tabúlese el
12
voto.
ayes.
12 sí.
Those are approved.
Esos están aprobados.
Mr. President, item
Señor
number 8
presidente,
on the
asunto número 8 en
continuation
la continuación de la
agenda is an
agenda.
item for which
Es un asunto
public
para el
hearing
cual la
has been
audiencia
held. I
pública
understand
se
Mr.
hizo.
Reyes wishes to
Entiendo que
call
el
that
señor
special.
Reyes quiere
Yes,
llamar
item
ese
18
especial.
call special by Mr.
Asunto
Reyes.
18 se llama especial por el señor
That
Reyes.
is the balance of the agenda.
Es el asunto de
Only
la
special
agenda.
items are
El
left.
asunto número de
Okay, let's then return to the
Vamos a
presentation
regresar a la
segment of
presentación
our meeting today.
en la junta
The
de
chair
hoy.
recognizes
La silla
Mr.
reconoce
Burnson.
al señor Burnson.
Mr. Burnson.
Señor Burnson.
Mr. President, members of the
Presidente, miembros
council,
del concilio.
for those of you that
Para
are not
algunos que
aware,
no saben,
our city has worked
nuestro
very,
ciudad
very
ha trabajado
hard
muy duro
for many years
por
in
muchos años
preparing
reparando
for any type of
para
major
alguna clase
disaster
de
that may
desastre
occur.
mayor
We've
que
had
pueda
a
ocurrir.
few.
Hemos tenido algunos.
We've had a couple
Hemos
of major
tenido
earthquakes
temblores
last,
mayores en los
35,
últimos
40 years,
30,
including the
40
Northridge
años,
quake.
también el temblor de
And,
Northridge.
Because of the
Y
type
por
of
la clase de
programs
programas
that our city
que
has in
nuestra ciudad
place
tiene en lugar,
with emergency
la
operations,
operación de
and
emergencias,
with police and fire
con la
training,
policía y entrenamiento de
with
policía y
the
bomberos,
type of
y con la clase
participation that we get in emergency fairs, which exhibit products and things for safety in the future. We've been able to have a very, very good record on both preparedness, prevention of damage and death and injuries, as well as recovery. So I just want to, at this time, we're talking about 2002 City of Los Angeles 11th Annual Emergency Preparedness Fair, which was held during the month of April at 4 locations around the city: San Fernando Valley, San Pedro, West Los Angeles, Central Los Angeles. All the events were well attended and featured free information on how to prepare individuals, families, and businesses for disasters. Participating departments included the fire department, police, building and safety, public works, water and power, and emergency preparedness, and other state, local, and county organizations. So I want to give our special thanks to the sponsors, corporate sponsors, for their generous support of emergency preparedness in the city of Los Angeles. The 2002 corporate sponsors are, and we have the Los Angeles, the number is this the thing we're
Esta es la
presenting?
cosa que presentamos. Eso está.
Okay. First to Universal Studios, and we have Nancy Matthews, who is the manager
que
of
es la
that
manager
division.
de esa división.
And we want to
Y
present
tenemos presentar
this to you,
a
Nancy,
esto a ustedes.
with our
Sí,
thanks.
con nuestras gracias.
Appreciate it.
Y apreciado. Gracias,
And I
muchas
think you
gracias.
got
Sí,
a bigger one.
tenemos que
You're
tener
going
una
to
grande.
have a wall stretcher for that one.
Una pared más grande.
And to BICEP,
Para
which is the
BICEP,
Business
que es
and
el
Industry Council for Emergency Planning and Preparedness, Ellis M. Stanley Senior, who is the member there receiving that. This is
Ahora va a
your-
recibir
I gave you the wrong one. Okay?
el del equivocado.
Okay, thank you.
Ok, gracias.
Also, not in attendance
No en asistencia.
is the Allstate Insurance Company, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company Airship Operations, Northrop Grumman, and Toyota Motor Sales USA Incorporated. So we want to give our special thanks to those corporate sponsors. I also want to commend our city staff people who have done, under Bob Canfield, who have done just an outstanding job. Bob, come on up here with us, okay? Get up here. We don't care. Today is casual. I'll take my tie off. I just want you to know that without the type of cooperation and the type of preparedness that we've been able to instill, this city would have suffered much greater loss of life and damages in the past, such as the Northridge earthquake and the other disasters that we've had. But they do just a great job for us. I just want you to know that we really appreciate it. Do you want to say a word or two here?
Thank you, Mr. Burnson. Ms.
You want to
Hawkins?
say a word here?
Like to say a couple
Okay, go ahead.
Ellis, before you begin, let me call on Councilmember Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take this opportunity to really add my bit of honor to our Emergency Preparedness Department and Ellis Stanley and all of you. I come from a community that, in my opinion, is probably on a daily basis could be exposed to any kind of an emergency or disaster because we live in and around the Port of Los Angeles and many refineries. And I have been working with Mr. Stanley to even try to look at providing a satellite office down in our harbor area because I believe your work is so important to not only all the residents of Los Angeles, particularly those in the harbor area. And I think as of September of last year, we all have a new meaning for what an emergency really is and what we could face someday in this city. So I wanted to congratulate you for the fairs that you're holding. I want to keep encouraging you and challenging you to work diligently with the neighborhood councils which are forming, because I think someday in the event of an emergency, they may be the only link we have to neighborhoods and communities and households. And let me just take this opportunity to say, this is why I think the harbor area becoming its own city is a bad idea, because in their proposed new city, they have no mention of emergency preparedness. And I think that is what you do well, and how this city serves its residents in a very important life-saving way. So I want to thank you.
Mr. Pacheco.
I just wanted, Mr. President and colleagues, to commend the department for all their great work. And Hal and I have been talking privately, and I just want to, you want me to move over there? Hold on.
You know, I undertook this area when I came on the council in '79, and I've spent a lot of time with it. And I was a little bit concerned about what was going to happen after I leave next year. But one of our members has expressed desire to continue, and I'm happy to see that. And Nick, maybe you may want to say a couple words before.
Alice does. Yes, Mr. President and colleagues, I have shared with Ellis and his staff that I'm very interested in picking up where Mr. Burnson has done such great work on earthquake preparedness, emergency preparedness. I think we can never lose focus on the residents' needs to feel safe, not only in their homes, but also in any commercial building that they visit. And so I've pledged to Mr. Burnson that I would work closely with the department to make sure we continue working in this area. I don't want this to fall in between the cracks because of term limits and people being forced out of office. So I want to make sure that you all know that I have made a commitment to working with the department all these issues. They were very helpful when I went to El Salvador to deal with what happened there. They were very helpful when I went to New York City after September 11th to talk to their emergency preparedness. And so I do want to share with you all that the good work is going to continue, and I'll be working close with both Alice and Bob to make sure that we continue having a very strong emergency preparedness department here in the city of Los Angeles. And on a final sort of small note, we did, under charter reform, give the mayor a much needed important role in emergency preparedness, so I really think we have the right formula now for success.
With no further ado, I want to I'll say a few words now. He's been a driving force behind this one.
Mr. President, Council, and especially to Mr. Burnson, we sometimes take for granted his level of commitment in emergency preparedness. You've always been there for us and with us, and we certainly appreciate that. And we also appreciate the fact that your colleagues are willing to keep the ball rolling. And on behalf of the 11th annual, we would like to present with you this little poster to, I know you don't have room on your wall for it, but we would like to present that to you for your continued support of the emergency preparedness. And also to our partners in preparedness, our corporate sponsors, we always appreciate them for participating and making this successful.
I just want to add that Universal Studios particularly has always been a great partner. In fact, one of the most spectacular international earthquake conferences was sponsored in conjunction with Universal back a few years back, and it was really terrific. We had a great, it was back in the I believe it was in the 80s. It was later, in 99. Excuse me, that's right. And it was a spectacular event. So they've been a partner in the very beginning with this thing with us, including getting us, were instrumental in getting us Hanna-Barbera with Yogi Bear and all the things that we did in the printed things. So I want to give a special thanks to them.
I'd also like to present one to Mr. Pacheco so he can get started early.
Now you got to live up to it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brunson. Chair recognizes Mr. Ridley Thomas for a presentation.
Mr. President and members of the council, may I draw your attention to this very special presentation. Tomorrow is a very important day in our city, and it's because of the spirit and the commitment and the matter of dignity accorded those who are prepared to give of themselves and competing in the 10th annual Special Olympics here in Greater Los Angeles. Those games, they will be held at Loyola High School. The Special Olympics mission is to provide year-round sports, training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic-type sports. You will be pleased to know, members of the council, that tomorrow more than 450 athletes are expected to compete during the games in one of 4 sports, including aquatics, track and field, basketball, and the like. The Special Olympics serves these athletes well by offering family and community activities they may not otherwise be able to participate in. The challenges they face in their daily environment are not obstacles on the field, and I think that's worthy of our attention. More importantly, the achievements they reach during the games create extraordinarily joyful memories. The Special Olympics are an example, an excellent means of empowering athletes and enabling them to interact with the community. And so this extraordinary event
Este evento extraordinario
not only offers athletes opportunities, but it also requires athletes have an updated medical forms and offers affordable medical exams for these athletes. All of these efforts should be applauded because they serve a crucial need in our city. And so will you please join me in recognizing Paul Badinka, the Area Director for the Special Olympics of Greater Los Angeles, and some of those who will be participating in tomorrow's games at Loyola High School. Now, I'll tell you this, those gentlemen who are standing behind me, you can make your pick. They won't be participating, they will be actively spectating, and I suspect I will be among them. And I'm going to ask now that my colleague, Mr. Pacheco, who distinguishes himself as an alum of Loyola High School and one who's helping to co-sponsor this event, to come and have a few words, and then I'll come back and make presentations to Mr. Badinka as well as Father Walsh and Mr. Thompson. Mr. Pacheco, please.
Mr. President and colleagues, as you know, our colleague, Mr. Ridley Thomas, pretty much summarized the importance of Special Olympics. I really just wanted to share with you that I'm very proud to have been a student at Loyola High School, and here we have a great program from that high school. I know many of the students are going to be volunteering tomorrow, and I am one of the co-sponsors of the event, and I just wanted to tell you that we in the council recognize that some of these events go beyond just our districts and our great contributions to the community. And I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate all the support the City Council has given to the Special Olympics.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pacheco. And now we wish to make this presentation. Mr. Badinka, if you would come forward. It reads, now therefore be it resolved that by the adoption of this resolution, the Los Angeles City Council does hereby commend the Special Olympics Greater Los Angeles for their exemplary efforts to improve the quality of life and provide valuable opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities, and extend best wishes for continued success in all your future endeavors. Sir?
Before we hear from a recipient, the chair recognizes Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I rise to thank my colleagues, both Councilman Pacheco and Councilman Ridley Thomas, for bringing forward this great organization. Loyola has been a great asset to the city, and as an entity in District 1, I want to acknowledge the fact that throughout the years, they've had a presence in the community. We look forward to working with them even further, and how we connect all these little islands within our own neighborhoods, and see how we can best build upon each other. I want to thank you in particular for your assistant in stepping up for St. Thomas Church. When that church burned down, you were able to work with the parochial neighborhood, with all the different interest groups, and lend yourself in such a way you can have our Sunday masses and all our rituals that make our community. So I want to thank you so much for your presence and your continuous contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. And now I'd like to ask both Father Walsh and Mr. Thompson if they would come forward. We wish to say, on the occasion of hosting the 2002 Special Olympics Greater Los Angeles Games, I'm pleased to commend your exemplary efforts to host the area games, which features over some 600 athletes with developmental disabilities competing in 4 sports events. We say thank you for furthering the common goal of making our city a better place in which to live. Best wishes for continued success in all your future endeavors. And this is on behalf of the entirety of the Los Angeles City Council. Father Walsh.
I'd like to take this opportunity, Mr. President, and members of the council, to thank the council for recognizing the Special Olympics. We're honored to be partners with the Special Olympics tomorrow. And I particularly would like to thank Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas and Councilman Pacheco and Councilman Reyes for their support of this great event. Thank you very much, and we wish all the very best to our special athletes tomorrow.
And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Councilman Ridley Thomas for championing our efforts within the community and also to be able to thank Councilman Pacheco and Councilman Ridley Thomas for helping us with our events tomorrow. We're very excited to be working with Loyola High School on the event, and I want to thank Father Walsh and Principal Bill Thomason for working with us very well to make it for a successful event for tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And members of the council, we have a T-shirt that these young men will share with you. It is your entry to at least 4 of the events tomorrow in which you are expected to compete. And we would ask that you don them accordingly. And I suspect there's one among us who will be there early to prove his athletic prowess. I wonder if anyone here can guess who that might be. We thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Chair recognizes Ms. Gruhl for a presentation.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
I'm here today to talk about some extraordinary students that are walking up behind me from North Hollywood High. Many of you read in the paper about the North Hollywood Science Bowl team. And they're standing behind me. I don't think I'd want to compete against them, I'll tell you that, on Science Bowl. They finished #1 in the region to qualify for the Department of Energy's National Science Bowl competition in Washington, D.C., where they finished 6th in the nation. The Science Bowl is a fast-paced, game show style competition with questions in the fields of physics, chemistry, biology, earth science, astronomy, computer science, math, and current events. Like I said, I don't think I could compete against them, so don't ask me any questions this morning, please. They really worked long and hard to achieve their success. These students are really going to become some of the greatest scientists of our generation. I think we need to encourage our students to continue to participate in these kinds of activities. North Hollywood is known for their competition and achievements in the Science Bowl, among many other things. I want to compliment not only the students who are standing behind me today, but also their coach who couldn't be here today, Len Soloff, for, I think, not only doing his job, but going beyond the call of duty and investing in his kids and our kids in our neighborhoods. So I'm pleased today to present proclamations to the members of the North Hollywood Science Bowl team, and I hope that you will now give them a round of applause and congratulate them for their achievements. I will introduce each of them by name. David Lee, who's called the physics guy. We also have Julia who covers astronomy and earth science. George Edward Marty, the chemistry guy. Justin Burdick, who covers biology. And Zara Yazdani, who also covers biology.
Apparently it's in suspense. No, it's not. It's probably not.
They're all going to be shy here for a
Todos van a
moment.
estar tímidos aquí.
Thank you so much.
Muchas
We're really honored to
gracias,
be
de veras,
here.
es un honor estar aquí.
We weren't asked to make a speech, but here goes. I think science has really been, our passions in our lives, and Science Bowl is something that serves as a vehicle for us to pursue these dreams, and it's wonderful to be recognized for all your hard work and dedication. So thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Again, thank you to all of the members of the Science Bowl team, and congratulations to North Hollywood High. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Gruhl. The chair recognizes Mr. Holden for a presentation.
Mr. President, members,
Presidente, miembros.
sometimes we take too much for
Veces
granted
tomamos
about the people who just happen to be our
Celebration
next
de la
door
gente
neighbors, about
que
what
son
they are
nuestros
able to
vecinos
accomplish
y lo que han podido
in the
hacer
world and how well they are
en el mundo,
respected,
que como también son los
and the things that they have done
cosas
sometimes
que
we don't
muchas
even know
veces
about.
ni siquiera sabemos.
Today, Mr. President, members, we are
Presidente y miembros.
indeed pleased and honored to have a great American, a great Los Angelino here with us this morning, who is a fine artist, respected by all in the profession. In the name of Mr. Frank Martinez, gives me great pleasure to introduce this outstanding artist, whose work can be seen throughout Los Angeles. This young man is a native Angelino who grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and he's young, I can tell you that. When the war, he also, like many of those of us who were patriotic then, I don't know what the young people are now, we volunteered in military and served our country proudly as he did in World War II, and he took part in the D-Day landing at Normandy Beach in France. When the war ended, he stayed on in Europe, in fact in England. He trained at the Art Institute in London. When he returned to Los Angeles, he continued to study at Chouinard and Otis Art Institutes. His work has continued to evolve. It has been displayed in more than 80 shows and exhibits, and I'm delighted to say that it also is on display at the FDG Gallery in the 10th District, and that's on West Adams Boulevard. If you want to go see that, 4470 West Adams Boulevard in my district. Lots of exhibits are still coming up to be shown. It's also part of many private and public collections, including the Smithsonian Institute, UCLA, and the Southern California Gas Company. Mr. President, members, please put your hands together to welcome a great artist, a fine, loyal American, Frank Martinez. You can see what it's like right here. That painting there is worth $50,000.
My goodness.
And I will sell it to you for 20.
All right.
Is that all right, Mr. Martinez? All right.
All right.
Mr. President and the council members, Mr. Holden, Councilman Holden, we want to thank the council for recognizing Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez continues to mentor our audience who come to him and seek out his help. Mr. Martinez has Parkinson's disease. And one of the things that he told me, that he said, I'm not going to let this disease lick me. In spite of the Parkinson's disease, he has continued to paint and turn out paintings that thrill us all. His murals can be seen throughout the city, and it's an honor to have him in our gallery showing, because he is one of the true masters living here in Los Angeles. And we are it's a pleasure to have him with us.
Before Mr. Martinez say a few words, I was just informed by Deron Williams, who's my chief of staff in the district office, you'll see more of him in the future, said that his wife, Mrs. Martinez, and sure our president of the council is aware, Alex, was instrumental in raising you, they told me. Yeah, I'm sure you'll speak to that.
All right, Mr. Pacheco is wishing to be heard. Mr. Padilla is interested in being heard. Sir, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Standing in Mr. Pacheco's seat,
Yeah, right.
to further confuse people, I just wanted to stand and also commend Frank. We most recently had an opportunity not just to chat, but really talk at an art exhibit at San Fernando High School. He was there with a group of artists known as Latino, based in the San Fernando Valley. Where he shared with me and many young people the heart and the passion and the history that comes alive through his art, and his stories from the military, his stories from having traveled the globe through art, and his commitment to the future generations. So I know it's not just an artist for artist's sake, it's not just an artist for money's sake, but an artist really committed to what we can achieve through art, in touching people's lives and inspiring people and motivating people. And it's great to have you as a role model coming from the San Fernando Valley, coming from Los Angeles, and seeing what you have been able to achieve throughout your life, and to continue to serve as a role model as you lick this disease.
Thank you very much, Mr. Padilla. Now we'll hear from Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Presidente.
Sir.
Councilman Alden, thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí. Lo siento.
We appreciate you, sir.
Apreciamos mucho, señor.
This specific piece is a search on my part for the last 40 years, since 1950, to create a surface that Mr. Tamayo had been working on. It took me 40 years to finally achieve the formula. And I've always been interested in the abstract ever since I came from England way back in 1947. And but I didn't have the tools to continue that direction till 50 years later, because I had to explain what was before me and explain it in such a way that people would understand, not just because it becomes an abstract, but there's a meaning behind it. And this is the result of 60 years of trying. And hopefully there will be a few more left. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. He deserves a big round of applause. Thank you so much. The chair now recognizes Mr. Padilla for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, I have a special presentation this morning, and I want to introduce this person before I call the person to join me. I think it's fair to say that as elected officials and political leaders, we know all too well what we mean when we say public safety is our first priority. And for the general public, as has been said often, but not often enough, September 11th has brought about a renewed focus, acknowledgement, and respect of what public safety officers first on the scene when it comes to emergencies go through on a daily basis and what they're willing to do to help others. And here in Los Angeles, as in other cities, we're proud when individuals dedicate their lives to public service, their lives to public safety, and stand on a long record of accomplishment and achievement and contribution to communities. Well, today, I want to recognize yet another member of the Los Angeles Police Department who has given over 30 years of his life to the community, communities throughout Los Angeles, in the San Fernando Valley, on the West Side, in the Academy, and others. But a police officer who went above and beyond, not only serving the duties and responsibilities that came with the badge, but really as a member of the community, getting involved in communities, getting involved in community organizations, from senior services to youth programs. Ladies and gentlemen, today the Los Angeles Police Department not only loses one of its own, but it is also a welcome, another welcome to the Los Angeles City Council of one of LAPD's finest. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the public, I'd like to call forward Dennis Zine.
Would you repeat that, please?
I'd like to call forward Dennis P. Zine.
All right, now we got it right.
And I know he's been on the council for several months now and is contributing immensely, not only on behalf of the 3rd Council District, but all the years of experience as a police officer, as a former director of the Police Protective League, and as an active, always will be, member of the community. You bring all those assets, all those experiences, so valuable as they are to this horseshoe, but in recognition of the chapter of your life with the police department and all that you were able to accomplish through that. I know we're going to have a little celebration tonight. Some people are celebrating the fact that he's finally gone from the Protective League. But we know you have a great heart, Dennis. And let me also point out, Dennis doesn't just leave the police department, because then there would be a vacancy. But his son just graduated from the academy, so there's another Zine filling in those shoes. But on behalf of all of your colleagues, Dennis, we want to thank you for your years with the department, and once again welcome you here. We know you're always a police officer at heart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Beautiful, 33 years. And I wondered why they delivered all these donuts to my desk this morning. They have a whole basket full of donuts. After you leave a career in law enforcement, you wonder what you're going to do next. And I was very, very fortunate. Like Tom Bradley, went from the police department to the city council. So the retirement has really not taken a hold, because I've begun a new career with the great colleagues that I serve here in city council to serve the people of Los Angeles. And it's an honor to have been a police officer for 33 years and to serve the people of the city. And it's another honor to serve as a public official and to set policy for the people of Los Angeles. And working in this council with our president, with the rest of the council members, and Janice, who I served on the Charter Commission, and Nick, who I served in the Charter Commission with. I mean, it's like friends coming together. And the new addition of Wendy Grube to come in, the new refreshing faces, and then Hal Bernstein, when he was running for council years ago, we put a lawn sign up in front of my house when I was working out in the San Fernando Valley, and the legendary Nate Holden. But to come into this body of people to work with you, that's how you want, Hal, is the sign on my front lawn. But to see the blending together, and it's all those years of dedication with LAPD, and my heart's always going going to be with LAPD. When I drive around, I'm always looking for the bad guys. It just becomes part of your life. And it's just an honor, and I really thank God for the blessings I've had, the fact that I was able to do that 33 years of service and have 3 sick days in 33 years and never injured on duty, and worked motorcycles, never had a crash in all that period of time, and to really do what's good for the community. And encourage people to get involved in public safety, get involved in your civic activities, but to come to this body, the City Council, it is absolutely wonderful. I know I'm working together with my colleagues to keep the city whole, to let the city know we're working together for their benefit, and I'll continue diligently working forward for the people of our city. And the years with the LAPD were very, very happy years, and it's sad that some of my partners passed away during that time. Some of my friends died during that time. And today at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a memorial at Parker Center celebrating National Police Week. And it's ironic that my day of retirement lands on the day that we honor the slain police officers of the city of Los Angeles. And I invite my colleagues and the public to attend at Parker Center at 1 o'clock this afternoon, that memorial service. But I thank you. I feel very honored, feel very blessed, not only to retire from the police department, but to work with such wonderful people and represent the people of the city of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles City Council. It's a very honored position. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Thank you. The chair wants, I note Ms. Grove, Mr. Burnson, Mr. Reyes, and Ms. Hahn, and the list grows. Ms.
Yeah, do we
Grove,
get to
please.
roast you? You remember what my mom did to me on my swearing in?
I remember that, I was there with you.
No, I just wanted to stand up, and I'm sure my colleagues will say the same, how proud we are to have you on the city council. I am so looking forward to working with you, that you've brought a unique experience and perspective by being someone who came from the police department. I heard more than once, twice, hundreds of times about how much public safety is on the minds of our constituents. And so your perspective is going to help us be the most responsive. And you've dedicated your life to the city, decided to do this crazy thing and be a city council member and continue your public service. And I just want to stand and congratulate you on all of your years of service, and that we're proud of you and proud to be your colleagues.
Thank you, Mrs. Grove. Mr. Burnson, followed by...
Yes, I've been listening to all these achievements, the 33 years on the department, getting elected to the council, all that stuff. The most important thing you ever did, Dennis, was put my sign on your lawn. But I want to thank you for that, and I welcome the opportunity to work with you. In fact, the truth be told, I was one of the people who encouraged you to run for this office, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And you have a very, very great background because it brings a perspective to this circle that sometimes people who have not been there in the police department and public safety don't have, they may mean very well, but they don't have the vision of what really transpires. And you bring that to this group, and we're looking forward to you for leadership in that area. So thank you very much for your service. And thank you again for the sign. It helped.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burnson. Ms. Lukowski.
As Chair of Public Safety, and I have stood there and brought in many an officer who has retired for many a year of being providing that service. We usually have a whole lot of others from the community there, but I think your community didn't need to come down today to stand with you, because they spoke last election day when they said that they recognize that service above and beyond just being a police officer, but being part of that community. And so you had standing behind you all of the members of your council district, although I think a few of them will be there tonight to let you know another side of what they thought and what they think. And for those who aren't able to be there tonight, hopefully we will have a script and a video, because I understand as a roast it's going to be a rather entertaining occasion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reyes, Ms. Hahn, Mr. Pacheco.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, I rise to applaud and to congratulate Councilmember Dennis Zine. What I really find interesting here and intriguing and it's enriching is the fact that we each bring a different set of experiences that hopefully will add to our ability to lead this great city, especially at times when we are talking about breaking it up and doing all these things that, quite frankly, I don't really believe people understand what it means. And we need your perspective to understand how we can continue moving forward. So I want to thank you for all your great leadership, your insight, and your focus on security, which really reflects your genuine interest for our community. So I just rise to thank you, and hopefully your next career will be as safe as your past one. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hahn, Ms. Hahn, Mr. Pacheco, Mr. Holden.
Congratulate you on your retirement and to say that I always found you, particularly when we were on the Charter Reform Commission, and we were really breaking new ground as really we were delving into things that really had never been discussed or even debated in this city in terms of making this city more responsive. And I always admired your courage and your willingness to really step out there and take a risk. And I must say, it probably came from the fact that you were a motor officer. And while all of our officers in LAPD certainly are brave and courageous and put their lives on the line every day in service to the people, every time I see an officer on a motorcycle, I say an extra prayer, because you really are putting yourselves in harm's way every time you get on that motorcycle, which is why I never accepted a ride with you on yours, and I never will. So quit asking me. But I do. You should be proud of the way you always remember to think about people in the city and always are trying to make this government more responsive, more accountable, and more accessible to people all over Los Angeles. So I consider it an extra joy to have gotten to work with you on the Charter Reform Commission and then to be your colleague here on the City Council. And I know that your 33 years in public service in our police department really brings to this body a great understanding of public safety issues that we all would do well to pay more attention to. Congratulations. Now what are you going to do?
Mr. Pacheco, followed by Mr. Holden, who was recorded as the last speaker.
Mr. President, colleagues, I just want to, I don't know, I just want to make sure I don't say anything that'll embarrass both of us. Spoon. I just want to commend you on giving so much of your life to the city of Los Angeles, but I do know that before you became a council member, I could always rely on you to buy me dinner, and now that you're a council member, you're just one cheap. I'm not sure why that is, but we'll let people speculate. And I just want to say that the Denison, I know, the safest ride with Denison is on his motorcycle. Any other ride, and you're in big trouble.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, you're sworn in, you say the truth and nothing but the truth. So you're going to stick with that. In order to remind your colleagues, Mr. Stein, what they said, and hold them to them, what they said is if it's the truth. Get a video copy of the tape today. And when they start beating up on you, you just show that segment. I just remember just the other day, there was a vote where it was like 12-2, and you were there. Like Nate Holden, sometimes it's 14-1, it's okay. But you do let people know how you truly feel. Let me just say that when I first met you, it was during the riot, and you the only one in the neighborhood wearing a gun, and I wonder who started that. Nevertheless, you're on your bike, and you were a smile on your face, no matter how the police at that time in that Normandy and Florence area was being thought of. Obviously, you made a good impression on the people in the neighborhood, because I didn't sense any hostility toward you as an individual. I observed you in the heat of the day and the night, as I did the people who were in the area and was accused of causing some civil unrest. And that was very impressive to me. So I just want you to know that this is a different job. You got a new career. And in this career, sometimes you're up, sometimes you die. But no matter where you are, you representing the people of this city, you've done it well in the past, and I know you do the same in the future. We don't always agree on every issue, but that's not what this process is about. And I'm sure you've already you will learn that if you haven't already, but I believe that you have. I would say that, however, in the next year for sure, you will have a new experience. And how you find yourself to be equal with your former boss. We expect him to run for office, and certainly one guy here is going to try to help him get elected, and I believe that will be the case. And I'm sure you guys will have a better relationship than that's where the real challenge is. So we look forward to that experience, and hopefully it'll happen before I leave. But God bless you, my friend. Stay strong, and I know you'll do a good job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Zine. We thank you for this presentation. We will now proceed to the business of the day. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, item number 1, called special by Councilmember Pacheco.
All right. Let me just, Mr. Clerk, there are a couple of items. Ms. Galante wishes to be recognized, and we will do that at this point, ma'am.
I just, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to ask if we could take item 12 out of order.
Is there any objection to taking item number 12 out of order?
We have some people here to be heard.
All right, if there's no objection, Mr. Clerk, proceed in that fashion, but prior to doing that, there are special guests here who were presented a presentation earlier. They now rise. Those who are participating in the Special Olympics, celebrating the 10th anniversary, would you rise so that we can recognize you and give you a warm welcome? These are they who are coming to be a part of the Special Olympics tomorrow, and we are glad that you are here. Mr. Pacheco, if you would escort these fine persons for a photo opportunity, we'll proceed with that. I think item number 12 is down before us. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. President, I believe there are some speaker cards on this item, and then let me just say before we hear from them that my concern here is that you will be hearing about these allegations and concerns with respect to the McDonald's franchises at the airport. And what I have asked in the motion is that the city attorney be requested to advise us within the next 30 days on what avenues are available for the city in the event that we run into situations like this. This is something that is alleged at a proprietary department, and we have some control but limited control. So the motion itself asks for the city attorney to advise us on what avenues may be available when we are made aware of situations like this. And with that, let's hear from the public.
All right, now to the public hearing on this matter. Madeline Janice Aparicio, Antonio Gutierrez, and Blanca Gonzalez. In that order, please.
Thank you, members of the council. Madeline Janice Aparicio with the LA Alliance for a New Economy. And I'm here today, actually, somewhat ironically, this is about the 5th anniversary of the passage of the Living Wage Ordinance, 1997. And we certainly have come a long way. There are many employees now who are making a living wage and being treated with decency that weren't a long time ago. And there are many good employers. Certainly don't want to give you the impression that we think there are only bad employers. But there are still 1,000 workers at LAX that still do not receive a living wage, do not have health benefits. And since 9/11, there's been a dramatic increase in labor violations and the mistreatment of workers, especially service workers, and in particular at LAX. Today, we're here to present to you a report about the 4 franchises at McDonald's at LAX. We presented this report last week to the Airport Commission. In preparing this report, we interviewed dozens of workers over a long long period of time. We looked through city files, health department and public agency files. And what we found is that, and I've been coming here a long time, and I've talked to you about a lot of companies, that McDonald's is by far the most irresponsible contractor that we have ever seen at LAX or any other city venue. First of all, and some of you may have seen the article in the Daily Breeze this morning, McDonald's, we found in city files and LAWA files that McDonald's actually owes the department, the airport department, more than $4 million that they have owed since 1997, from 1997 to 2000. And they're back and forth, but it's the most money. They last year illegally changed operators. This change in operators of one of the franchises should have triggered the living wage ordinance, but it didn't, and they still do not pay a living wage. They have been repeatedly cited by the health department for unsafe food, and in our report we go through in detail the problems, and these are serious problems. McDonald's, I can say with my head held high to you that McDonald's at the airport is a sweatshop. It is the most hazardous workplace that we have ever seen. There are people that are walking wounded, tremendous number of injuries constantly. There's intimidation. If people complain, and a couple of the workers here are going to talk to you about what they face. There's egregious violations of wage and hour laws. People not allowed to take breaks, people forced to work overtime. There's an ongoing problem of severe sexual harassment, and Blanca here is going to tell you about this. Since we presented this report to the Airport Commission, we have had a number of women who have come forward to us complaining about the same manager who has been there for a long time, and these women who made complaints repeatedly to the management of McDonald's and were ignored. As I mentioned, we presented this report to the Airport Commission, so what we are asking you to do today is simply to work with the department and the commission to fully investigate and consider your options. And one possible option that we would ask you to consider is the possibility of terminating the contracts with McDonald's, of actually making an example of this company and telling them they can no longer do business at the airport, and bring in a new company that's willing to comply with city laws and basic standards of decency. Thank you. I brought extra copies of the report in case you hadn't seen them.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Antonio Gutiérrez, tengo 6 años trabajando en McDonald's, en la Terminal 5. Trabajo como utility.
Good morning, my name is Antonio Gutierrez. I have been working at McDonald's at the airport for 6 years, and I work as a utility worker.
Estoy aquí para hablar de los problemas de accidentes en el trabajo.
I'm here to talk about the problems we have with accidents at work.
Uno de esos problemas es que carecemos de equipo de primeros auxilios. Solamente tenemos curitas y aspirinas.
One of the problems is that we have no first aid equipment. All we have are Band-Aids and aspirin.
Cuando una persona se quema o se corta, tenemos que usar lo que esté allí únicamente.
When someone burns themselves or cuts themselves, we have to use whatever's there.
Un compañero se cortó su mano y fue muy profunda su herida.
One of my coworkers cut his hand, and it was a very deep cut.
Desafortunadamente no había nada para estancar la sangre. Le tuvimos que poner café en polvo y toallas de papel.
Unfortunately, there was nothing to stop the bleeding, so we had to put coffee grinds and use paper towels.
Otro de los problemas es que la compañía no nos informa de nuestros derechos de compensación al trabajador.
Another problem is that the company doesn't inform us about our rights to workers' compensation.
Por tal motivo, mis compañeros de trabajo tienen miedo de reportar accidentes o ir al doctor porque nos cortan horas.
For that reason, my coworkers are afraid to report any accidents or injuries because we might lose hours or they might report us.
El mismo compañero que se accidentó se presentó al trabajo y solamente le dieron 6 horas de trabajo después de que tuvo ese accidente.
This coworker that I told you about that cut himself, he went to work the next day, and he was only given 6 hours of work.
Para mí, en lo personal, el trabajo que desarrollo es pesado, el cual consiste en mover cajas de 35 libras o más.
Personally, my work is very difficult. I have to lift boxes of 35 pounds or more.
Por lo cual es necesario utilizar fajas de seguridad para realizar dicho trabajo.
For this purpose, we should be given, we really do need the security bands that we wear around our backs.
De las cuales nunca se nos han entregado hasta el momento.
They've never given us any kind of equipment like that.
Por tal situación, muchas veces he pensado cuál sería mi futuro si alguna vez me llevo a accidentar por realizar dicho trabajo sin la protección debida.
And so I've thought a lot of times, what happens if I hurt my back or I get injured? What will be my future?
Sé de antemano que tanto mi familia como yo sufriríamos ante todo una crisis económica al quedar sin trabajo.
I know that, of course, my family and I would suffer a huge economic crisis because I would be losing my job.
En estos días, los manejadores han tenido pláticas con los trabajadores, lo cual se siente un sentimiento de miedo por un ambiente de intimidación.
Since we presented these charges to the Airport Commission, the managers have been interrogating us and making us feel incredibly afraid.
Gracias por su tiempo y le pedimos su apoyo para resolver estas anomalías. Gracias.
Thank you for the time, and we ask for your help to resolve this situation.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Blanca González. Trabajé en McDonald's del aeropuerto por 8 meses.
Good morning, my name is Blanca Gonzalez. I worked at the airport for 8 months.
Yo dejé mi trabajo porque no me sentía como me trataba un manager en especial.
I left my job because I didn't feel comfortable the way a manager was treating me.
McDonald's en el aeropuerto dice que tiene cero tolerancia con acoso sexual entre manejadores y trabajadores.
McDonald's at the airport says that they have a zero tolerance policy for sexual harassment.
Eso no es verdad. McDonald's en el aeropuerto sí permite el acoso sexual.
This is not true. McDonald's in the airport yet does allow sexual harassment.
Un manejador en particular se sentía con el derecho de poder tener relaciones con cualquier empleado.
One manager in particular felt like he had the right to have relations with any of the workers.
Cuando yo comencé a trabajar, él aseguró que yo sería su próxima conquista.
When I started working there, he kept telling me that I was going to be his next conquest.
Para protegerme, yo dije que era casada.
To protect myself, I told him that I was married.
Entonces él comenzó a molestarme con comentarios sobre mi marido.
So then he started making comments about my husband.
Cosas como si mi marido no me satisfacía sexualmente.
Things like my husband probably didn't satisfy me sexually.
Una manager llegó a escuchar algunos de estos comentarios y me dijo que era mejor que me quedara callada.
One of the managers at McDonald's heard these comments and he told me that I better be quiet. I better keep quiet.
Él nos acusó a mí y una amiga de ser lesbianas.
He accused me and one of my friends of being lesbians.
Mi amiga se quejó con la store manager y ella solo lo regañó verbalmente.
¿Ella le regañó al manager o a ella? One of my coworkers complained with the store manager, and all she did was verbally say something to the manager who was doing this to us.
Él se molestó Él se molestó con nosotros por lo que hicimos y tomó represalias contra nosotros.
Then he got really mad at us, and he retaliated against us.
Él no desaprovechaba oportunidad para querer suspenderme o ponerme warning por cualquier cosa.
He would take advantage of every opportunity to suspend me or put a warning on me.
Él nos perseguía y nos presionaba a todo momento después de eso.
He persecuted us and put pressure on us at every moment after that.
Yo me sentía muy mal porque ni siquiera estaba a gusto en mi propio trabajo.
I felt really bad because I wasn't even happy in my job.
Después de septiembre, del 11 de septiembre, decidí salirme por la presión de ese manager y porque ya nos daban muy pocas horas de trabajo.
After the September 11th, I decided to leave the job.
Cuando yo entregué el uniforme, hablé con la encargada y le expliqué el acoso sexual que estaba pasando.
So when I turned in my uniform, I went to the top manager and I told her about the sexual harassment.
Ella me preguntó que si estaba dispuesta a enfrentarlo en una junta con otro manager.
And she asked me if I was willing to face him off in a meeting with another manager.
Y me preguntó si iba a regresar a trabajar y le dije que si resolvían el problema sí, porque no quería continuar en esa situación.
And she asked me if I would continue to work, and I told her I would definitely like to come back, but only if they had resolved the situation with that manager.
Ella quedó de llamarme y nunca lo hizo.
She was supposed to call me and she never did.
Hace 2 meses atrás llamé porque supe que estaban ocupando gente y llamé para pedir trabajo.
2 months ago, I called seeing if there was a job and if I could possibly go back.
Ellos quedaron de llamarme en 2 días y no lo hicieron.
They were supposed to call me in 2 days, but they never did.
Por empleados del mismo McDonald's me enteré que algunos managers dijeron que no querían que yo regresara porque representaba un peligro para la compañía.
And other coworkers, former coworkers of mine, told me that the managers had told them that they didn't want me back because I represented a problem for the company.
Yo les pido su ayuda para que nos ayuden a resolver estos problemas porque no me gustaría que les pasara a otras mujeres lo mismo que me pasó a mí. Gracias.
I'm asking for your help because I don't want other women to have to go through what I went through.
Thank you very much. This concludes public comment on item number 12. Mrs. Galante, do you wish to be recognized first?
No, I'm not. Am I? Yeah, okay. Thank you, Hal. As I said earlier, the thrust of this motion is a request to the city attorney to advise us within the next 30 days what recourse is available for the city. Obviously, the fact that McDonald's owes us money, which the airport has confirmed for me, is clearly relevant, but I think that the things we're just hearing about are require much more immediate attention. I have talked with the staff at LAWA, and they are attempting to follow up on this, and I'm sure their attorneys will be working with our attorneys, but we're dealing with labor law, we're dealing with contracts with the proprietary department. There's a whole series of overlapping issues here, and so I think in order for us to do something that doesn't get us in trouble under the labor laws, that we need advice from the city attorney, and I ask your support for this motion, and Ms. Weingart has told me that the city attorney's office, having seen the motion, is already working on it, so it's my hope we'll get advice in a lot less than 30 days. But of course, we're in the middle of budget, so we'll fit it in as soon as we can get it. So I urge your support. This is something that cries out for somebody to investigate and resolve, and it's my understanding that there are many different agencies that have jurisdiction over pieces of this, and they will all be appealed to, but the question is, since we as a city clearly do not want to be in a position of condoning the kind of behavior we just heard about, if indeed that is what's happening, then that was pretty convincing testimony to me, then we need to know what we can do and what we can't do so that we can do what we are able to do.
Thank you. Mr. Holt.
I'm in a state of shock. No more hamburgers for me, especially at the airport. This is a county health department report. Did I hear you say correctly that's what that is? LA County Health Department report. And we're going to sit around here and wait for 30 days to get a report from the city attorney's office? That's a delay that should not even be under consideration. And so therefore I will move. But let me ask you a question. Do they have an A in the window at the McDonald's restaurant? they have some A's. Would there be finding like this by the health department? Well, they need to be closed like right now. We don't need 30 more days to subject the public to these kind of health violations. Man with a bleeding hand fixing hamburgers? With all other kind of problems we have today? I mean, there was a time when you had to have had a health certificate to work in a place like this. You needed a tuberculosis test, TB, am I right? They relaxed those rules because of certain movements in our communities. And so it's people coming down with hepatitis this and hepatitis that, and they don't know where they're getting it from or how they got it. So I'm going to make a motion that we send it forthwith to LA County Health Department and have them review those facilities and make a finding whether or not those violations still exist. If in fact they still exist, they've already had the warning, it's been published, they should be shut down, closed. Don't leave that facility until you put a padlock on the door. That's the sense of my motion. If you care about doing something about this problem, I should have heard 14 different seconds already. All right? I heard about 4, so I'm going to need, that's 4 plus 1, that's 5. We need 3 more votes, 6. Can I get a 7? Can I get an 8? All right, Mr. President, members, that's the motion. Forthwith to the LA County Health Department to go out there, and I'm going to go out and double check on them also. They've been warned, those facilities, shut them down. For that commission to be aware of what's going on out there and do nothing about it, to drag their feet, and the City of Los Angeles Airport Commission, they always say in politics, who's in bed with whom and when. But this one, we're going to pull the covers off, and we're going to be exposed. So that's the sense of the motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the workers who came down here today. It means a lot for you to be here. And it's one thing for us to pass legislation, which we often do. We know it's another thing to actually implement and enforce it. And that's where the hard work comes in. And whether it's living wage right now or the workers' conditions, we must make sure that we are enforcing labor laws, both of the city, and make sure that those folks that we are giving concessions to are abiding by the labor laws nationally and statewide as well. If these allegations are true, we are saying very clearly to McDonald's and to the operators, clean up your shop now. Clean it up. We have no tolerance for this. The people of Los Angeles have no tolerance of it. Your commercials say that you like to see us smile. Well, we're not smiling today. We hear these stories, and if they're true, we are reacting with horror. And know the workers that are here today that your boss's boss, us, is watching very, very carefully. So I'm in full support of this. I want to thank Councilmember Galanta for bringing this about, and know that we are going to be watching this very closely and asking other levels of government as well. These violations go on when the light of day is not put on them, when we don't turn our eyes towards it. But because of your activism today, we will be looking at this, we will investigate it, and if it is true, we will take action. Thank you.
Gracias. Mr. Reyes.
Señor Reyes. Council President, just bear with me. Gracias a los trabajadores. Yo sé que es muy difícil llegar aquí y hablar en esta manera. Es importante que damos la confianza a la gente que la ciudad sí está vigilante y queremos apoyar a ustedes, ustedes hermanos. Gracias. Someone to thank them for coming here. I know it's hard for them to speak and be in public this way and talk about issues that are as personal as they have been. The fact is I agree with Councilman Holden and Councilman Garcetti. We should shut them down today. I mean, we know about it now. We can't pretend it's not happening. We can't be waiting for bureaucratic red tape and hope it goes away. So I assure you, the problem will increase as time goes on. These kinds of personalities that are vindictive will be even harder on the workers, even as we speak. So the message has been given out there. Councilman Garcetti, this motion that you put in the past, reviewing these issues of labor and negotiations, is there a way we can move fast on this, or is it just something that we say to the commission, Councilman Galanter? Are we going to have to wait, or do we have any way of just saying, shut it down?
Well, that's the reason I brought in the motion in the form that I did. The county health department has the ability to shut down any restaurant anywhere if it doesn't meet code. We don't, they do. If there are a whole series of requirements under.
Don't we have conditions for these, or they are our tenants, aren't they?
Right, but they're the airport's tenants. That's the tricky part. I mean, believe me, I share your frustration. That's the problem with this, and that's why we need to be very clear. The airport is under the Airport Commission, it's not directly under us. So the Airport Commission, the airport staff is already doing this. They're looking at the lease, they're going through the lease and the contract, the concession contract, to see what they can do. My question to the city attorney is same question you asked, what can we do? I mean, expressing our views, I think, is helpful, but obviously what we want to know is what else can we do? Because this, not only should this be taken care of, but if it ever, we don't want it to ever arise again. So that's the point of the motion. I'm not trying to back away from it. I'm trying to make sure that we don't step into something where we don't have jurisdiction, which creates more of a problem instead of getting the job done.
So we call our commissioners at the airport and have it on the agenda next time we meet. They can deal with it then.
Well, if they have something within their, the lease and the, I mean, that's when they need their attorney for it, and we need our attorney for it. I hate it when we have to delay things to talk to the attorneys, but that's the problem we're stuck with. It's not a council-controlled department.
Thank you very much for your vigilance. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Ms. Han.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to thank Lane and the workers that came down here today. We appreciate your courage and your bravery in coming forth with these allegations. And I am like everybody else. I am appalled at some of the things that were brought to our attention today. And, you know, not just health violations, but certainly some worker violations and sexual harassment violations and really some conditions that no worker under any circumstance should be forced to endure. And there are other commercials says you deserve a break today. Well, let me tell you, the workers of McDonald's deserve a break today, and I don't want to wait 30 days. I think these are issues that are extremely serious, and I would make a friendly amendment to Councilman Holden's motion that the Airport Commission immediately investigates these violations, not just in terms of whether or not we can terminate the contract. That certainly is one of the things we're looking for, and that's where we need our attorneys, but these are some serious worker violations that I think the commission needs to look at immediately, so I'd like to add that to it. You know, I think what disturbs me about this is we had a problem not too long ago with Host, and you came in, Lane also came in, but I never heard you talk about terminating the contract. We got together, we sat down, and we listened to the workers' violation, and Host listened to the workers' violation, and by the next time you came before us, everything had been worked out mostly to everybody's satisfaction. What bothers me about this, you're actually looking to us to look at legal remedies and possibly terminating that contract. So it seems like it's really bad. It's gone on for a long time. But I don't want to wait 30 days. I think people's lives are in danger. And not to mention health and safety violations. So I'd like to see something happen more immediately. I'd like for McDonald's to agree to sit down with the workers, the airport commission. And you know what else bothers me? And Councilman Planner, I know this is something we're working on in terms of how do workers' complaints get to a place where it's heard. And I'm understanding that McDonald's workers are not unionized, so you're not union workers. So where in the system can workers' complaints come to somewhere at the airport, somewhere within law? And I believe we were trying to set up a 1-800 number. I'd like to have a report back from LAWA on where complaints of some of these workers can go to and be addressed immediately. This is a very serious situation.
Es una situación bastante seria.
Are you asking that to be
Está
part of
pidiendo
your
eso que
motion?
parte de su moción. Sí.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Mr. Holden?
Miembros presidentes de esto.
I guess I'm a little upset. We've got a city attorney sitting here. And he's saying 30 days is all right. Get the motion by Ms. Galantis, that's fine. If you report back in a year, that's okay. But what we're going to do today is what needs to be done. Instruct the county to go out there forthwith,
contrato que vaya para allá, para adelante,
review these
para repasar
complaints and these
quejas y
findings.
estos fondos.
And what else can
¿Y
we
qué más
do?
podemos hacer?
Sure, we can tell the commission, we appoint them, work for the city, show cause and issue an order to cease and desist.
You can request the
We can request,
commission,
I didn't tell them that.
and the city attorney is, as Ms. Galanter said, we are aware of the situation. We have been working with LAWA, and we will be reporting back.
Right, we don't want to wait 30 days. We just have a motion to the commission to have them to issue a show cause order to comply with McDonald's. That's in labor, livable wages, they're entitled to health. That is part of the agreement, which they have the contract. They have an assistance program, 90-day program. All those are in place. And that's the big book that Mr. Zion held up the other day. All that's included in those contracts. Now, why is it so, why are we so hesitant, reluctant to support a motion, to advise the council to support a motion to request that the airport commission either consider or issue an order to show cause as to why they're not in compliance. And that'll focus on the attention that needs to be focused and have those guys come to the negotiating table to work out these problems. So there's two motions. One, we instructed the health department. You can vote on Ms. Galanter's motion, that's fine. Instruct the health department to go out there forthwith and review these complaints that they discovered. If they're not in compliance, shut them down. Number two, you can say to the, and I want to add to that, to the airport commission that they issue an order to show cause to McDonald's or all others who are in violation of the agreement, terms and conditions agreement upon which they are allowed to act.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Ms. Galanter to close.
I'm assured that the county will not mind being instructed by the city council, because once they know its name, it's going to be okay.
Es mejor que no hacer nada.
Nate,
Nate. Un buen hombre.
you know, I love doing business with you. One of the reasons I'm really looking forward to retirement is I'll never have to see you again. I move the previous question.
La pregunta anterior.
Previous question has been moved.
La pregunta
Let's open the roll on the previous
es
question.
la pregunta anterior.
Close the roll.
Cierre la lista.
Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That ends
Entonces,
discussion.
eso termina la
I
discusión.
believe we're prepared for a vote.
Estamos prontos
with
para
amendments
votos
coming
con
first. Mr.
amendamientos
Clerk.
viniendo primero.
Yes, there's one amendment with three parts.
Con tres
And the
partes.
first one,
Y el
Mr.
primero
Holden
es que el
moves
señor Holden se
that
mueva.
request the
Que
county
pida al
health
salubridad
immediately,
del condado
forthwith, to
inmediatamente para
investigate
adelante para
conditions
investigar
at
las
LAX
condiciones de
locations.
y los lugares.
Two, request
Dos,
the
pidiendo
LAWA
la
Commission immediately
Comisión
to
del Agua
investigate
inmediatamente que
and report
investigar
all others
y
in
reportar todos
violation.
los otros en violación.
And three, request
Y tres,
LAWA to
pidiendo
report
al
back
agua que reporte
regarding worker complaint
acuerde de las quejas,
process. These
proceso
are all
de
subject to
quejas. Estos son
concurrence of the mayor.
sujetos a concurrencia del algo.
Okay, let's open the roll on all the amendments. Close the roll
Cierre la lista.
and tabulate the vote.
Establece el voto.
12 ayes.
Entonces, sí.
Let's now vote on
Ahora
item
vamos a
12
votar.
as amended.
Ms. Galanter left, she didn't vote on this.
Ella no
Let's
votó
open the roll on
Vamos a abrir
item
el
12 as amended.
lista.
Close the roll
Cierre la lista.
and tabulate the vote.
Establece el voto. 12 sí.
That is approved. Forthwith,
Se aprueba
please.
para adelante, por favor.
Next item.
Próximo asunto.
Item number one, called
Asunto
special by
número uno,
Councilmember
especial por
Pacheco.
número con
Mr. Pacheco.
Señor Pacheco.
Item number 1.
Asunto número 1.
Mr. President, colleagues, item number 1 is the presentation for your review, and we're going to be discussing this on Monday. Hopefully, you all received your letter dated May 16th. I just want to share with you some highlights in the letter. I think it's important that you look at the procedural guidelines that we're going to be following on Monday. And especially, I want you to know that if you're looking to fund a new program or a new item, just know that it's really incumbent upon you to help us by identifying a source of funds for that program. I want to tell you that this year has been a very challenging year. The Budget and Finance Committee hasn't faced one like this year. Obviously, September 11th, the economy were major impacts on how we handled this year's fiscal year. But I think we worked very hard in committee, and I can tell you that I was very aggressive on each department to make sure that they did not come up to the table and feel that they were not going to share in cuts and share in savings. There was a lot of departments who did a very good job of meeting that challenge, and that's why today we are in a better position than many anticipated. However, I do want to caution us all that we're not out of the woods yet. We still have to, I would believe, my personal opinion is survive next fiscal year. I think a year from now we'll be in a better position to understand exactly where the city of Los Angeles will be in its financial assessment. That's why we built up the reserve fund. No one should consider the reserve fund an additional source for funding. It's really there because of the ambiguity in the economy, the state budget crisis, and secession. We all know that today we had a report about secession having an impact on our bond rating. We took that, obviously, we take that very seriously, and I want to reassure everyone in the city of Los Angeles that I will be working with our staff as Chair of Budget and Finance to minimize the impact on our budget. The state budget crisis is impacting our budget. I can tell you right now that our initial estimate is that for next fiscal year, we're going to take a $12 million hit. We're going to have to work that through as we get through the year. And also, we don't know what the subsequent years are going to be like, but right now we know that $12 million is a starting point. We definitely prioritize public safety and quality of life issues in committee. We definitely funded areas where people felt that public works, street paving, sidewalk repair, and different items that the committee felt were important. On a final note, I just would like you to look at the budget, and I want to, as a citywide document, I want to commend everyone on the committee for sacrificing their personal needs in their districts and looking at the big picture and being good team players here and not asking for district-specific funding at this juncture. I believe that we need to start first this next fiscal year with a citywide view. So I want to commend all the committee members and all the council members for looking at this in a more global picture. So I just wanted to tell you that we're very pleased with the work we did during the year. We will see that libraries had an increase. We have a bulky item pickup pilot program. We restored the neighborhood facilities and community improvement fund, and ask that you look over the weekend at the budget closely. And I feel that on Monday we will have a good deliberations and be ready to stay as long as it takes on Monday. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that today you're receiving the budget, and on Monday we'll be all prepared to discuss and ask any questions you feel are appropriate. Thank you.
Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chairman Pacheco, for your hard work on the budget. I think you really showed leadership in a very difficult budget year and showed a lot of restraint in making sure that all those departments did hit those measures, and I think that was quite historic for this year. Not only did we get the departments to cut back and to make sure that we could survive this year, but also looking at next year, I think that fiscal oversight really helped them have leaner, but meaner budgets. There is great news, and you spoke about some some of it, but I think this budget, also the work of the CAO, the CLA was incredible. In a difficult budget year, when we're facing so much, and the biggest deficit in our history coming out of this past year, to be able to have more than 3% in the reserve fund to protect our bond rating when it's being battered by other things, which I'm sure we'll be hearing about later in this meeting, it was really quite impressive. Also, more firefighters, more police, more sidewalks being repaired, more library books. These are the core things that the citizens of Los Angeles asked from us and that we were able to put in there. And as somebody who's on the budget committee for the first year, too, to see that there wasn't pork in it. It was something that reflected citywide priorities, not the priorities of 5 members or 5 council districts. It was also, for those of us who idealize cleaner government, was something really good to see as well. The taxpayer advocate, I think, is something as well that was critical to have in there, and the bulky item pickups, which you mentioned. This shows restraint, it showed discipline, and it showed people that this government and this city can get the message from the streets, and this is returning the spending to where it should be, right there where people live. So congratulations, Mr. Chair, again, and it was a pleasure serving with everybody on the Budget Committee.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. Chairman of the Finance Committee, do we anticipate any shortfalls, and if so, up to this point, budget shortfalls?
Mr. President and colleagues, at this point, the
As it leaves your committee, you should have some idea whether or not you have a surplus, shortfall,
Well,
etc.
what I want to say is the budget is balanced. It includes 105 reserve fund, but I do not want to label the reserve fund as surplus. Our minimum requirement is about $60 million, but we're at 105 right now, so I don't want to mispresent this. So we are balanced. We have a reserve fund that's healthy for the city. So the short answer to your question, Mr. Holden, is there's no shortfall, and if it's balanced, and that's really the goal.
And on whose back? I'm just wondering whether or not we're going to lose employees, or whether or not we're going to cut services. I think that's important, whether or not we're going to have more police officers or fewer police officers. Are we budgeted for 10,000 police officers, yes or no?
I believe we're not budgeted for 10,000, we're budgeted for 360, which would bring us about 360 extra officers, which would bring us about 9,000.
Is that all?
That's what we're budgeted
We were
for.
criticized for not having 10,000 about a month ago.
Well, I will tell you that the criticism is a valid criticism, but it's not appropriate to budget for people that we can't recruit and hire. If we can't recruit and hire them, then budgeting them.
Then there was an unfair criticism.
Yeah, well, no, I think the criticism stands on its own. But, listen, let's be clear about one thing. Mr. Holden and the community have raised this issue. The criticism about the number of officers we have stands on its
You're the only
own.
speaker, Mr.
But I think,
You're the only speaker, take all the time you
okay,
need.
but I just want to share this with everyone. The budget as a tool for guiding the city must be appropriately balanced from the standpoint that there's no point in budgeting for 10,000 officers in next fiscal year if it's unrealistic that we're ever going to hire and recruit that number. So the criticism stands on its own. Our job in budget and finance is to make sure we do a budget that is realistic to what we're going to be able to hire. That's why we've added 360 new positions in the police department, because that's what we believe we're going to be able to hire.
All right, and Mr. D, at one point, the federal government was giving us a 50% match for each officer that we were hiring. Have we met that quota yet? And then we, after 3 years, we would pay the full salaries of those officers that we brought aboard.
We have been able to,
Were you aware of that,
modifications-
Mr. Pacheco?
modifications to the grants, we've been
Mr.
able
Pacheco, were you aware of that?
Oh, yes, the fact that we had the grant program, yes.
Mr. D, you going to tell us about it?
Nos va a decir sobre eso. Estamos con algunas modificaciones en el préstamo, hemos podido
the grant money and be also able to
prestar y
match
también hemos
what we have to
podido
do.
So we were matching for 10,000 police officers. And not, you know, that was the commitment to the federal government.
But we have discussed with the federal government, and the fact is that when you're in a situation of recruiting like we are right now, we have been able to make modifications to use that grant.
And they're not penalizing us for
That's
that?
right. So we're hiring as many people as we can. And if we could hire more, we provide for more.
At the rate that you expect to hire these officers,
de que vamos a encontrar más
When you
opciones
think you'll ever get to
360.
10,000?
¿Cuándo fue que van a llegar a 10,000?
We're hoping with
Estamos esperando
change in the
el cambio
recruitment
de
that we should be able to get there in a couple of
en
years.
un par de
In a
años.
couple of years.
Un par de
And we'll
años.
have the money for it at
Vamos
that
a
time, you
tener dinero
think?
para aquel entonces, yo creo que sí.
All right, so, well, we just don't see the major service cuts, street maintenance, trees, roads,
Actually, we're adding money to,
sanitation department.
we're adding money for sidewalks and street paving and library books and parks.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
I
And,
depend on Mr. Hernandez to tell me what's going on.
and Mr. Holden, all members of the council, you should all be in receipt of a letter circulated by the chair of the Budget Committee yesterday outlining not only highlights of the budget, but procedures for Monday's hearing as well. So, Mr. Holden, your questions are welcome, and I'm sure Monday we'll have many more questions and much more discussion on all city departments and concerns. Any other members wishing to be recognized on item one? On item number one, seeing none, Mr. Clerk.
The item will be continued to the special meeting on Monday, May 20th at 10 a.m.
Here in council chambers. Before proceeding to the next item, members, let me bring your attention to the roll. There are 10 members present at this time. A couple of council members have had to leave for prior commitments, so we have a bare quorum. I've asked for your patience and focus to act on the balance of the agenda. We have a couple of items, including item number 2 on today's agenda and item 1, special item that do need consideration and action today. So again, your focus and patience is appreciated. Mr. Clerk, let's take special 1 next.
Mr. Chair, item special 1 has to do with the Fitch ratings that were announced yesterday that would put the city in a negative credit watch situation due to the San Fernando Valley secession issues, and therefore the council would need to make the finding that the need to act arose after the posting of the agenda, and there's an immediate need to act.
Anybody wishing to be heard on the findings? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Special 1 now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion itself. Ms. Guzikowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, I think we all read the headlines today about something that may have a very serious impact on the city's credit quality and may impact what we're going to be doing relative to the budget. Basically, what we've been told by one of the bond agency rating authorities is that based on the issue of secession, based on uncertainty, based on information that they